runs live, and Tristal won by 3 minutes over Edgeworth in second place, and the next closest racer was 20 minutes behind them. So that kind of tells you the quality of these two racers.
And so we're underway here. So White Magic Shop, we're looking at nothing special, really.
There's Bane.
Level 8.
Yeah, at level great. So we'll see that back when we're at like level 30.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I noticed, Will, is that there's really no AoE spell out there that I saw. And so now we're going to see if the randomizer is going to really try to screw our racers right off the bat here by giving yeah, right, by giving the imps or the wolves something terrible to deal with here.
Mm-hmm. And this is a commonality in Magic Shop Shuffle seeds. You see slow starts because of a lack of AoE. Now, something that some racers do is they'll make a mad dash immediately for the Temple of Fiends in the hope of picking up something like a Thor Hammer or Zeus Gauntlet or Mage Staff, something that'll give you an AoE effect on an item. And we're not seeing that immediately. We're going to at least see one level up prior to that.
Yep, it looks like the imps are going to be pretty reasonable to our two runners here. Now, because you and I are commentating, we need to be neutral, but our chat has no such requirement. And so I want to hear from chat if you're Team Edgeworth or Team Tristal for this three-man race.
And I will certainly call with impartiality. I harbor no resentment for Edge for the match that we just had. He is one of my favorite runners by far. Both of these cats have actually given me a whole hell of a lot of advice on how to run. Edgeworth has even gone so far as to run through an entire race on stream and basically run a stream doing that and giving me pointers on every single step of the run as I went through it.
Gold bracelets have been found in Canary at a cost of about 21,000, which is a little cheaper than we normally see them in these randomizer runs, and so that's going to be within reach here later in the game in a good source of armor. Edgeworth's still thinking about whether or not he wants to pick up any of these spells, and Tristal's just making a break for it. He's going to go and see if he can take down Garland early.
Isn't a bad move. Now the plus side with the armor here is that we have access both to wooden armor and chain armor on Edgeworth's side, which is pretty good starting armor. It was cheap, it was accessible, and it's going to give him a little bit more durability. Looks like Tristal had no problem getting through Garland.
And so with Garland knocked down, Tristal picks up the loot and gets a bridge across the inner sea there. He'll be able to go visit Matoya's cave. First, he's going to do some shopping, and Edgeworth is going to give us a glance at what these three chests on the left side of Temple of Fiends have for us.
Mm-hmm. Now, a sub-3 Garland with the 3 chests picked up is a pretty darn good time when we're not looking at a Magic Shop Shuffle and when you do have access to an AoE spell. Sub-3 without that is pretty impressive.
So not a whole lot of interest in those 3 chests. There was a house, and the house will prove useful as the runners try to head across the inner continent here and go to Provoca next. Houses, I believe, were at 1,400 in Corneria. Cabins were at about 700. I don't believe tents were available. And so they're going to have to make a mad dash here across the continent to make sure they don't get caught unawares by any awful enemies.
And Garland posing no problems for Edgeworth either.
Well, and the imps have glare, so they didn't show that at the beginning, but they're showing it now.
It's something you certainly want to avoid.
Tristal makes it through the bridge of text and is going to go ahead, and it looks like he's skipping Matoya entirely. He's making the play that there's nothing really of interest in any of these chests, and he wants to find his AoE spell in Provoca.
Absolutely. There's no sense in wandering around without something that can guarantee a one-round destruction of any group of enemies at this stage of the game. You don't want to go moseying around up by Matoya's cave and then run into those imps with glare and have to start all over again, go past the bridge of text again. It's a complete time sink.
Tristal makes it into Provoca, and we're going to take a look at these white magic and black magic spells now. On the right side of your screen, I see Ice 3 at level 5, but there's Ice 2 at level 1, and that's going to be a godsend.
That's for sure. Any access to any AoE spell at this stage of the game is practically mission critical.
Wall spell hiding at level 3 there. There was only one white magic spell available in Provoca, which is a bit of a screw you to our 2 runners. They're not going to find much here to play with at the beginning. No. And now the moment of truth. Oh, maybe not the moment of truth with the Pirates.
Immediate Ice.
You won't know. Immediate. Ice 2 right off the bat.
Crystal Luck strikes its head, rears its ugly head yet again, and he gets the first round AoE to go off before finding out if Pirates are anything nasty.
That black magic, or that black mage that he took with him is starting to pay off dividends. Edgeworth raising a couple of characters up here. He's got a red mage that'll be able to learn that Ice 2 spell, so he's looking good too.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to have one spell available to you in the white magic department, Wall's a good one. However, it's not that useful quite yet. That's a little bit more of a middle to end game spell. It's not going to be something you're going to be throwing out there when you're fighting against mobs in say the Marsh Cave. It's not going to serve you any purpose fighting, say, the 4 wizards guarding the vanilla crown chest.
Edgeworth taking on his pirates now. Let's see if he gets his Ice 2 off.
To answer Nightwolf's question, no, Garland did not have anything particularly scary and seemed to have pretty low HP to top it off. And now we're about to find out what's in Matoya's cave, courtesy of Tristal. And Edgeworth having no problem with the pirates.
And Tristal says no thank you to the glare imp taking down his fighter.
Nope. And rightfully so. And Drum's pointing out some good spells worth having in the white magic department, minus the exit that he caught himself forgetting the first time around. But yeah, Fade, obviously the best and onlyest attack spell that can affect any type of enemy. I would say Harm 4 is a decent one to pick up if you can get your hands on it.
So the bottle has been cited in Provoca at a max price of 65,000 gold. So nobody's going to have that money to pick that up now, but that'll be a required progression item for later, which means we'll be coming back here. There are pro rings at 48,000.
So there's 2 comeback items here. Provoca is probably one of the worst towns for things to come back to get, because you have to make all of these walks through town that suck up a lot of time, and it's kind of an out-of-the-way town. And the only thing we really saw there in Matoya's cave was flame armor and I think some gold. Flame armor's pretty effective for the fighter, but we're not getting much in the way of progression or additional AoE support.
Yeah, it's definitely a good defensive pickup, especially early in the game with its 34 absorb. And the fighter, it's one of those great armors that the fighter can equip early. And so that'll be a nice pickup.
The adversary make a good point in chat that going back to Provoca for Ice 3 at level 5 is probably going to be a good move, if for no other reason than dealing with the water packs on the water floor in Temple of Fiends Revisited. And no, there is no black belt in this seed because there were 3 forced classes, that being the fighter, thief, and white mage. Black belt would have kind of been anathema and would have made the AoE spells inaccessible until class change. Then at which point the thief, becoming a ninja, would have access to the first 4 levels. But that's by no means any kind of certainty.
So we're watching our 2 runners here sort of tread over material that we've already seen before. They'll both be sort of joining together either over in the Dwarf Cave or down in Elfland next. It's growing increasingly likely that the first progression item, the TNT, is probably hiding down at the bottom of Marsh Cave.
Right. Yeah, there's 2 chests we have left to see before we can make that assumption, or to state that with certainty. The 2 chests in the Dwarf Cave. This is always worth the trip, so you can potentially avoid making a voyage down to the Marsh Cave, since it's kind of an over-leveled area of the game, even in vanilla. And it's even worse when you have status attacks shuffled and magic shuffled and enemy stats shuffled.
So Edgeworth is going to go ahead and take a peek at those 2 chests up on the Dwarf Cave. So we're going to see what the dwarves are hiding for us today. Looks like red Sahags have poison, and that's just going to be horrifying for later.
Silver Hammer and a cabin. And that's obviously a reset. There's some synchronized Kazoku fighting.
These are really actually a nice enemies to fight here at the beginning of the game. They're going to give our runners a lot of experience and a good amount of gold here right at the beginning.
Yeah, this is a good gold farming pack. Anything from 3 to 5 Kazokus is a fantastic early game cachet of money.
Red Sahags with the poison spell is going to be a real challenge for our runners here later. Red Sahags come in packs in the Sea Shrine as well as Temple of Fiends Revisited, if I recall correctly.
I don't remember them being in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, but they most certainly are in the Sea Shrine. And that's probably the only place that would give them problems because both of these racers are pretty apt when it comes to avoiding encounters on the sea.
White Magic Shop for the level 3, or the usual level 3 spells on Elfland 1, as I call it. I saw a Heal 2 spell at level 2, and now we see Life at level 6.
That is a tough one.
Yeah, that's a rough place for that to be. Black Magic side.
Temper.
Temper at level 2, that's great.
And level 1 zap, level 1? Very much worth taking.
Absolutely, that's good.
It's nice to have something that's more dependable than Zap, but it's nice to have, in lieu of nothing else, it's nice to have an automatic death spell.
There's Cure 3 at level 5 for the white magic side. So by and large, we've seen the first 4 magic shops now, and as this is starting to turn out to be a pretty stingy magic seed up front, this is going to be a challenge for these 2 runners.
These are the kind of seeds I continue to get when I do Magic Shop Shuffle runs, and it is most definitely the reason that I really don't like playing Magic Shop Shuffles.
There's silver bracelets at 5,900 gold, which is a reasonable price, and a decent amount of absorb if they want to spend the money on it. That's a, let's see here, 15 absorb for those.
And to answer Psycho Sheep's question, Edge won 2-0. The first match was a Max Evade Chaos that either one of us could have won, and Edge caught the right RNG at the right time, pulled it off. He had a couple of extra chances at Chaos before I did. The second match, he beat me by about 18 minutes. My routing was very far from optimal, and Edge played an Edge seed very well. So he's definitely earned this position that he's in right now.
Our runners are pretty much neck and neck at this point. Tristal's got a little bit of a overworld advantage on Edgeworth at this point. They are heading down to the Marsh Cave. That first progression item, the TNT, is still waiting to be found. And we'll either find that down here, or we're going to find something else like the Crown, which opens up additional chests. Exactly. Tristal is going to save his game here, and in he goes.
The only thing that can show up here other than TNT would be the Crown, as far as progression items go. Which it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's also a nice thing. It's nice to get it out of the way early. It's one less thing to be looking for at the very end, where all you have to worry about is the floater and the slab.
Arachnids cast Cure 4 on themselves. That's kind of hilarious.
Pearls before swine. It doesn't preclude a boss or a fiend from having Cure 4, though, because the fiends have a different script set shuffled from what the regular enemies have. So that means we're still going to have a fiend that has a Cure 4 in its rotation of spells.
So far, the only thing Tristal has found up here is Cold Hard Cash up at the top of Marsh Cave. We got one more to check. Yep, it was just money, and so he's going to reset out, and he's diving now down to the bottom of Marsh Cave, still looking for that first progression item. And the shadows have blind. That's kind of appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense from a canon standpoint, I guess. And we're about to see Edgeworth get disappointed by the lack of anything useful here on the top floor. don't think any of this gold is really worth keeping.
So if you're just joining us and you've not seen one of these runs before, this is the semifinals match of our Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament, which has been running since late August, early September. Our number 1 and number 2 runners in the rankings have now met each other. This is Edgeworth and versus Tristal. This is a best of 3 matchup. This is game 1. As we've been saying before, both of these runners are just spectacular at this game. And this is really a 50-50 contest.
Now I'm interested, Drumboard has mentioned that 3 of the 4 chests on the top floor are tied to 3 chests on floor 3. Now, I'm not certain of the accuracy of that statement since I know there is one linked chest. It's that top left chest being linked to the room we just saw Tristal in with 2 chests. The one on the right, not the one on the top, is linked to the top left room's chest. I don't know which other 2 chests are supposedly linked down on this floor.
So we're seeing our first look at the Wizards over on Tristal's side. The Wizards so far just appear to only hit hard, so I don't think they rolled anything too horrifying.
No. And their HP seems reasonable enough. The adversary makes kind of a good point here, too. It's odd to call this a semifinal. The reason is that if it's called the finals, then it's going to imply that the winner of this is the winner of the tournament, which is not the case. Like, any of the loser of this match, myself, Czar, or Ice Blue could end up in the finals between one of these 2 runners here.
And we heard the happy music that indicates that we found a progression item, and it's the TNT. Tristal is going to go ahead and take a look at the last chest up here in the upper right-hand corner, and then he's probably going to make a break for it.
No doubt about that. No reason to hang out here any longer than you absolutely have to.
Right.
Now, for those who are not familiar with this game or the randomizer, something very cruel could happen in the future in this seed, in that we might have a progression item that is crown locked, and those 3 chests at the very bottom of this room here that they're in on the 3rd floor could have one of those progression items behind them. You can't get them now because they're locked. And that's a cruel thing that can happen in certain seeds.
And so far, this seed is sort of playing to form. Both of these runners are within a minute of each other. They're both very machine-like in their execution, very similar in their routing, and the result is that we're neck and neck going into to trade in this TNT now. Looks like the werewolves are stoning somebody.
That is not a friendly experience. I don't know if he was able to pick up any softs in the process of his shopping. His 2 of his 3 least durable characters were left unstoned. I have a feeling that if he did have some soft potions, he would have used them by now, at least brought back the Black Mage to do some AoE damage. In this ambush, not friendly.
Yep, Edgeworth is running for his life here now with only 1 person unstunned or able to do anything.
Mm-hmm. And it's the least likely one to successfully run away, however...
And look at that.
It does.
So the RNG is kind to Edgeworth, and he's sprinting for his life to get out of this marsh cave before anything else happens.
It was kind to Edgeworth in that one circumstance. It was much kinder to Tristal getting out of this thing, and that's kind of what we've come to expect from watching Tristal run. He does tend to get the luck when it's most beneficial.
Edgeworth successfully flees the marsh cave, saves his game, and he's going to breathe a huge sigh of relief here and get the heck out of here. No one loves the marsh cave. If anybody tells you they do, they're lying.
Yeah, and we're talking to you, Artea. Artea makes a good strategic point, though, that coming there before going anywhere else, you have a higher statistical chance of finding the TNT than you would going to Matoya's Cave and the Dwarf Cave combined. And you do acquire some money and some levels by making that trip, but it is potentially a pain in the butt.
So next stop for our runners will be back at the Dwarf Cave, where they're going to drop this TNT off at Narek, who will go ahead and blow a hole out of the inner sea here so that we can get to Melmond. And then after that, we'll do a little shopping at Melmond, and then we're off over to Crescent Lake area.
Mm-hmm.
Edgeworth is going to stop and see if he can pick up some soft potions here so he can get his party back up to spec.
You don't want to leave those characters you don't want to leave those characters petrified, is what I was trying to say. Before my
yeah, especially those two, right?
Right. Yeah, the only one you could really get away with that for is the thief. And since these are both players that, like myself, actually value the thief as a contributing party member for the sake of escaping battles a lot more easily, I don't think he wants to leave that thief petrified any more than I would. Unpetrified. Yes. Caught that from amidst all of these Futurama references in chat.
So if this is your first time watching the Final Fantasy Randomizer, this is for most of us that are running it now, has become the preferred way to play this game. Not that I don't love old vanilla Final Fantasy, but I super love this version of Final Fantasy with the press B to run and buy 10 potions at a time. If you're an old fan of Final Fantasy and haven't picked this randomizer up, you can play a vanilla seed with all of the creature comforts that this randomizer offers. But really, to play it randomized is the way to do it now.
Now, briefly to interrupt here, which of these enemies had glare? Was it the creep or the ogre?
Believe I saw the ogre earlier.
It was the ogre that did that? Right. Yeah, Trenton seemed to just miss it too, apparently. Yeah, I knew the imps had it, so if someone who is more familiar with the game mechanics than myself, because I'm not one of the people who lives on the Astral Esper site, how many enemies in vanilla have glare? Or is this on the Medusa script where there's going to be 3 different enemies that have this particular status attack?
It's a really good question. While I pull that up, maybe somebody in chat can find it for us as well. Meanwhile, Tristal has finished up his shopping and is sailing westward, and we're going to make our first visit to Melmond. We've not seen a whole lot of spells that we're really interested in looking for at this point, so let's see if Melmond is a jackpot for us.
Heal 3. And Fire 3 at level 5.
Well, Heal 3 is super nice to find, but the beat goes on.
Well, Iron Armor for the fighter. Pretty durable.
Here's Fire 2 at level 2, which is not awful in a pinch. Yeah, Fire 2, Trenton, I would say, is also of interest here, especially since there's not been a whole lot of other AoE black magic spells that have been found yet.
Already Platypus making a good point that flame armor has already been found, so the iron armor is of less consequence at this point. Or actually, considering the party composition, it's of 0 consequence. It looks like Edgeworth pulled ahead a little bit on encounters. So, and the regular Sea Hags have Glance. So, a lot of these common packs of enemies are getting some real pain in the butt status attacks.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for a, buy 10, get 10 free on soft potions here so far.
No doubt about it. Or find as many more of these, as many ribbons as possible to avoid this sort of thing. So red sea hags and regular sea hags, both a pain in the butt.
So I've just put another link to our Discord in the chat. If anybody out there has not joined our Discord yet and is interested in learning how to run this Final Fantasy randomizer, we are constantly bringing on new people to run with us, and we're thrilled to have you join us if you want to learn.
And I've started endorsing the collaboration of the Final Fantasy I randomizer community to come together and put somewhat of a knowledge base together on baseline strategy for playing this game. Best practices regardless of your party, sometimes regardless of your seed set, your flag set, and make it a little bit easier to learn without having to struggle through it too much.
Edgeworth makes it into Crescent Lake first, and he's going to go ahead and take a look at the magic spells up on the upper right-hand side. Still a lot out there that they'd love to be finding.
Now, there's a bright side to all these early status attacks that all these stupid enemies have, is that these aren't going to appear on more difficult enemies later in the game. Now, red sea hags are the exception because they show up with whiz sea hags as an unrunnable fight in Sea Shrine.
But and here we go, jackpot.
What did we just see here in the white magic shop?
We saw level 1 Fade and level 2 Cure 4, and so the this part of the seed is broken wide open.
Mm-hmm. Problem is, red mage cannot learn Fade from what I saw.
The third position here?
It doesn't matter what position it's in on here. It's shuffling the entire script. So
oh, that's right. So they have to try to sample it and see whether or not they can pick it up. There's a Lightning 3 at level 4. There's Fast at level 4. And our friend Break at level 2.
Good old Brack. Yes, Mallow Ninja, the spell levels are scattered, they are shuffled. This is the first stage of the tournament wherein this is actually part of the flag set, called Magic Shop Shuffle.
So for the positive side for Edgeworth, that he can't learn level 1 Fade is one thing, but he is going to have all the level 2 Cure 4 he could ever want. With both the red mage and the white mage. Tristal went with the black mage, and so he's going to miss out on that extra healing.
And that might be a difference maker, since having levels there, look at that, P pack. XP extravaganza, provided they can be killed easily.
And they know slow, which means that they'll be killed annoyingly.
Right. But any resource that'll get you some good XP this stage of the game is worth exploring, even if you have to sit through a few of these slow and trance AoE spells.
So we're watching our runners now, I think, start to head in different directions. Will, if you're running this seed right now with an incentivized ice cave and an incentivized ordeals on the table, as well as the volcano, which always has 30 chests in it. Where are you going first?
Well, with these party compositions, I'm inclined to say that I would rather go to, believe it or not, and I never say this, ordeals. And
really?
Yeah, absolutely. There's less chance of some nastiness there from what you're going to find in either the ice cave or volcano. Now, if this is a black belt seed, I would be going to volcano almost every time, and I think Edgeworth would agree with me on that. It has 4 potential grind enemies. If none of them work out, then you've got the ice cave right north of you, and you can grind the eye there.
And I see Drumboardist in chat saying that Tristal's doing a strategy that Drumboardist absolutely loves. He has saved way back over by Crescent Lake. And is coming here to check out Castle Ordeals. And if it doesn't find anything he likes, he's just going to go ahead and reset all the way back across the map to the other side. Of course, the danger here are these pillars.
The other danger is that this is a script shuffled seed, so if something has thunder, if something has a really nasty spell that can wipe them like nuke, that's your butt. You're done. You gotta come all the way back before you even find out if it's worth coming back. So it's definitely a gamble no matter what.
And I do have to point out that your love for Castle Ordeals, our friend Files, one of our co-runners, is smiling somewhere, hearing that you want to go to Ordeals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like Tristal agreed with me on this. So let's see how I'd be faring right now if this is me playing. Obviously, I'd be about somewhere around 15 minutes behind either of these guys.
You and me both.
Yeah, because my luck would not be anywhere near what Tristal's was.
I would have run into Glare Ogres about 12 times already.
No question about it. But I have the feeling he's going to find something juicy here.
And Tristal finally makes his way through the pillars. That was a whole lot of pillars, and there is a soft lock risk here, so he needs to be careful about his button pressing at this point.
I don't think he hit enough columns to be too concerned about it at this point. The all-important Wear Sword has been picked up.
All right, chat. What's the prediction? What's in the incentivized chest here at the top of Ordeals?
We have an adamant guess. No one picks up the chest in the pillars floor because it's a linked chest. It's linked to the last chest on the end there of those 4 that you see.
A lot of votes for Ribbons, Adamant, Ruby, and the answer is Adamant.
Zara's a winner.
Yep. So all those of you who selected Adamant, congratulations! You can go ahead and proceed to the front desk to pick up your winnings. And I got to tell you, the Adamant is not going to be completely useless here. We've got fighters on both sides,
yes.
And so we might see that Adamant turn into an Excalibur at some point.
Yep, and it's all going to be based upon 2 things. Number 1, if they find the tail, and number 2, whether they consider it worth doing the class change for the purpose of making use of it. So it looks like
go ahead.
Say the same thing here. It's going to be grinding on some zombie Ds, pick up some extra levels.
Edgeworth, meanwhile, is also doing grinding of a different sort. He's sticking around Crescent Lake and picking on some trolls, bulls, and those packs of EXPs.
Man after my own heart right there. That's exactly what I'd be doing at this point. Peds are weak enough to be exploitable. They're early in the encounter table, and you don't know what you're going to be facing anywhere else on the map. So this is actually what I'd be doing too if it was me.
So if you're just joining us, we're 30 minutes in, so we'll go ahead and do a quick reset of where we are so far in this race. This is a semifinals match between Edgeworth and Tristal. These are our number 1 and number 2 seeded runners on SRL. This is a best of 3 to go ahead and advance to the 3-game final. The bottle is hiding in Provoca. The TNT, the first progression item, is in Marsh, and that is the only progression item we have found thus far. The Adamant is hiding up at the top of Castle Ordeals. Both of our runners right now are just sort of running around and doing a little bit of leveling. And I believe that's everything so far. The 3 forced party members for this seed are the Fighter, the Thief, and the White Mage. Edgeworth decided to go with a Red Mage, and Tristal went with the Black Mage. And that is where we are at this point as we head into the second half, or the second sort of act of this. Looks like Edgeworth is going to go ahead and make a play for the Volcano next.
Yep, he's sticking with his traditional strats of going Volcano first. I don't think I've ever seen him not do this, but I've also never seen him run without a black belt, so I wasn't expecting this necessarily.
Yeah, for those of you that have been watching this entire tournament and are sick of seeing black belts, this is your race. You don't have one to look at all.
You just think there's going to be less grinding, and that's probably only marginally true.
Yeah, something tells me both of these fighters will be getting pretty beefy by the end of this.
Yes.
All right, so Edgeworth has entered into the volcano, which is one of these classic awful dungeons where some of these enemies can be just completely brutal here at a 400% seed. 30 chests in this dungeon. There is a fiend down at the bottom, carry weights down at the bottom, and she also can be quite frightening here, especially to a lower level party.
I think you mentioned 400% seed. I don't believe we're at 400% yet.
Oh, are we? Okay.
I think that's the finals that'll have 400%. We should be at 3 right now.
Oh, sorry. Only 300% then.
Right. Well, it's the same as the last one where you can run into things like max evade chaos with, 5,000 hit points like Edge and I dealt with in our first match.
Yes, 300% is plenty of room for any of these fiends or higher level enemies to start spinning up with just truly awful approaches to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where it pretty much comes down to RNG slot machine luck, whether or not you're able to kill, whether it be Kraken, Tiamat, or Chaos with your regular strats.
Or they could be made of tissue paper.
Or they could, which happens a lot less often, but does happen.
It looks like
it's usually when I spend a lot of time grinding.
It does look like the route divergence is going to continue. Tristal is going to check out the other incentivized dungeon, Ice Cave, next.
Speaking of ice, Edge has picked up the Ice Sword, which is really about second best sword he could hope for at this point in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from the Sun Sword or the Masamune, because he can't get Adamant without a tail.
Yep, 29 damage on that Ice Sword, and so that fighter is starting to look better and better with Flame Armor and an Ice Sword. You're starting to look good on equipment.
No question. You always look smart after you pick the right path. And Edge is looking pretty genius level right now. And I didn't see, where did they pick up the opal bracelet? Was that in the party room with all the chests?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did chat see where the opal bracelet was found?
Topmost chest, thank you. And 13,000 gold. Since I don't think either runner has access to warp or exit yet, this is going to be even tougher. Things like this, things like Ice Cave, which is where Tristal's headed right now. I think he wants to exhaust the incentivized areas before he goes anywhere else. And I can't say I blame him. Had I done that in either of my races, I won.
The ogres are still playing unfriendly with Tristal, but he's made it now to the entrance of the Ice Cave. He's going to save his game, and in he goes.
Mm-hmm. It's always interesting to see route divergences like this. You're going to see things start to converge again once they've gotten their respective required items, the slab, the floater, the crown.
Yeah, but not only route divergences, we're also seeing a character party divergence. Tristal's thief has gone to sleep, which is something we're sort of used to seeing, while Edgeworth still has his thief up and alive. We'll have to see whether or not that holds.
I have a feeling that Tristal's keeping that way to prep for an eye grind. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Because the value of having a thief in the Ice Cave from running for fights is pretty high. Because you don't want to get stuck in these packs of wraiths and images and specters.
Oh boy.
And then have them have something like Bane and not be able to run from it, as we just saw.
There you go. So images with Bane, we're going to see that here in the Ice Cave, and I believe also Earth Cave.
That's correct.
And no ribbons yet to be found anywhere. And so if Tristal's on the hunt for a ribbon here in Ice Cave, that's going to be a good find for him.
Katana is shop fodder. I think in most cases Katana should be shop fodder regardless of class change. Even though it's one of the ninja's best weapons, it's if you're using your ninja for primary attacks like that and your katana is your best weapon, you shouldn't be using him for primary attacks because it's not going to give you the kind of damage output in a seed like this that's going to be worth it. I'd sell it either way.
Yep, I'm in the same boat. If I find a katana, especially early, I love to trade in that katana for about 40 to 50 tenths, so that you can. It's just so much more useful.
Right. Yep.
Unrunnable Frost Giant over on Tristal's side.
Sforzan making a fantastic point that I agree with, and that's that ninjas make great shirt holders. They most definitely do. They also make great auxiliary spellcasters. If you kill them off early enough before they class change and can do the 15 to 21 level up, you get the 4 spell charges very early and can stack things like early nuke or multiple fasts, multiple tempers, and make it a lot easier on yourself when you're going through the Temple of Fiends. So Tristal struggling his way through that fight, finally gets through it. It looks like both parties are at level 15. We're getting a pretty even-handed race going here.
Yep, absolutely. We thought this would be neck and neck, and so far we're 40 minutes in, and I would think that if you put the two runners routing together here at the end, once they reconverge after they go through these dungeons, we're going to be in the same boat. Here comes those images, 6 of them, and they've got Bane, so look out.
Wow, and then he gets the hero fade cast right off the bat. I'm telling you, that Tristal, man. A garden of 4-leaf clovers in his backyard. Edgeworth taking a little extra time to kill off a pack of EXPs.
So no warp here. We're not going to be able to see any warp strats here in the ice caves. So Tristal's going to have to full clear this dungeon.
Mm-hmm. For his efforts, he gets a wooden staff.
So down we go. This will be another encounter with possible images here. And so Tristal goes ahead and heals up. Oh, he doesn't get them. Only gets Wraiths and Geists.
It looks like Edge was trying to take an extra fight, probably to level up before he uses a house. Yeah, it looks like it. Exactly right. And I'm wondering if Edge is going to take some time grinding fires. Or, well, he's going to go down. Probably going to check out the early Agama fight. I didn't catch to see if he tested the Grey Worms or not, but he usually does that too.
Ooh, these Wraiths hit really hard.
Mm-hmm. They have a tendency of doing that.
And Tristal's HP here is just melting away. There went the fighter.
He's done.
And that's a wipe.
I'd strongly consider GTFOing here, but he's going to persist.
So that's first wipe of the game for Tristal. Edgeworth was very close to wiping down in Marsh Cave with some statues for party members, but he was able to get out of there safely. So the RNG strikes first against Tristal as far as wiping goes.
First time for everything. I kid, but he has had some pretty charmed. He's had some pretty charmed runs so far, save for the time that he left the floater in the chest in Volcano against Drumboardist. That was probably one of the few instances where I've seen his luck not go well. And Edge found the floater in Volcano.
So that's the second progression item. Yep, that's absolutely a game changer for Edgeworth. It's going to change his calculus as to whether or not he wants to even attempt to come over here to Ordeals or Ice. That's a big pickup here in a dungeon that was not. This is not an incentivized dungeon. Everybody comes here anyways, but wow, Edgeworth strikes first.
Mm-hmm. And his traditional strats pay off.
So if the floater's not in Ice Cave, chat, I asked you in Ordeals, I'm going to ask you here too. What do you think Tristal's going to find down here in the incentivized chest?
And I'm going to guess that myself, I'm going to guess he finds either a ribbon or the ruby.
I agree with ribbon. I think it's high time to find that. I'm going to say, I bet the Masamune's hiding down here.
That'd be a good pickup. It'd almost be worth the struggle he's gone through to get it. But not quite. Nothing calls of Slab. Slab would be the best thing for Tristal at this point. It's the only thing that's going to keep him somewhat on pace with Edge.
Yeah, I agree. Slab or a crown hiding down here would be good for Tristal too.
I'd definitely rather find the crown than the slab.
Right. Meanwhile, Edgeworth playing with the Agamas a little bit. We'll see whether or not they're grindable.
They look a bit beefy. And somebody else had actually said those exact words. They look a little bit too beefy to grind. And I'm inclined to agree, and so is Edge. I guess they'll test out that red D.
There's a ribbon finding for Tristal in the pack of 6 chests here down the lower left-hand side of the Ice Cave, so that's a huge pickup for him. That also kind of puts the eye grind back on the table, because now that ribbon can protect that fighter if he wants to stick around here.
Most definitely. I think that was part of his purpose for coming here anyway, was to test out the eye grind. And you get their levels up high enough, you don't have to worry quite as much about some of the stuff that these guys have. Not only do you have a ribbon now, not only will their HP be higher, they'll also have higher MDef, higher magic defense. Question is how far he's going to take the grind up. And my guess is going to be like low 20s to mid 20s. Oh. Looks like the red dragon isn't necessarily mortal.
Tristal decides not to play with this pack of rays and just goes ahead and fades them and fire twos them to death. Probably a wise decision. Edgeworth is going to stick around here with the red dragon. Looks like he's found a possible grinding opportunity.
It's just taking 2 AoE item uses to kill the red dragon, so it's most certainly worth exploiting at this point. As long as, and I don't want to commentator curse Edgeworth here, but the only thing he really has to worry about is a pack of 4 bulls ambushing him with something nasty, or 2 red giants ambushing him. Everything else is pretty safe.
Yeah, meanwhile, over on Tristal's side, if he wants to try to grind on the eye, the images have Bane, but he's found a ribbon to counteract that. What he can't counteract are those packs of wraiths, which, can probably take down even a higher level fighter on their own.
Oh, here's 7 wizards, but he's got a fade to counter it, and lit 3. With 65 hit points, enough to take them down. I think he'll be okay.
So 4 more chests here for Tristal to check, including that one incentivized chest. I saw a whole lot of different suggestions as to what might be down here, so we're going to find out who wins this round.
7 more wizards for you, Tristal. Enjoy it. Yeah, Drumboard has brought up, he tried to kill off the thief for this grind, and I agree. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't done that. It's not very Edgeworth-like to leave a full party like this, but most certainly interested to see his strat here. And here's part 1 of 2 of our interest.
Okay, the eye didn't have a whole lot there.
Oh, 170.
Oh, wow.
Big find.
Okay, so that's a huge pickup for Tristal. It is a required progression item, which means that Edgeworth is going to have to come here at some point. Edgeworth, though, has the floater and is going to probably go check a whole bunch of other stuff first.
I imagine Tristal's best move after this, if he's going to do some grinding, which I'm not averse to him doing, is to go to Volcano, because that's his best play to find the floater. Because checking the crown chests at this point by ship is a much slower proposition than checking them by airship. So it's in his best interest to try and find the floater in Volcano. And if he's wrong, it's not really worth going to Earth Cave at that point. He probably will just go do the crown quest.
Yeah, but it looks like he has abandoned the eye and is heading through the exit. So he's done here. He found the progression item he was looking for, and is making a mad dash. Now all eyes on Tristal to find out where he goes next.
Right.
Meanwhile, over on Edgeworth's side, we're still grinding on red dragons.
Yep. Like I said, I'm still interested to see how far Edge is going to take this grind. If he's going to take the party up to like 24. Or where? Wow, it looks like if the fighters attack, there is any indication, this is a very high evasion red dragon. So it's a good thing he's got those AoE items to use.
And he's doing a 4-party member grind here as well. So this is not the fastest thing in the universe we're watching.
No, and I'm still baffled why he's keeping that thief alive. I really don't understand the benefit of grinding up the thief at this point, because if he does class change, he's going to want as low a level as possible to get the spell charges on the ninja, who picks up spell charges 1 for every odd level up. So 15, 17, 19 on forward, and capping out at 4. So if his level is at like, say, 28, 29 by the time he does a class change, he's not getting more than 1 or 2 spell charges before Temple of Fiends.
So my guess here as to what Edgeworth is doing, and Edgeworth is smarter than the two of us put together probably at this game. But my guess is that he's probably just leveling enough to make sure that Carrie's not going to wipe him down after he's spent all this time here in the volcano. Meanwhile, Tristal, having found the crown, is going to go ahead and check those crown chests first. Oh my, everybody! Astos was hiding as the friendly old king in the castle.
I mean, I don't know who could have possibly seen that coming.
Who saw it?
I don't know why Tristal is doing this. Praxia agrees with me. Why Tristal? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
He just loved the glare ogre so much that he wanted to come back and see them again. So Edgeworth, Tristal taking a bit of a gamble here, taking those crown chests early, and we're going to see whether or not this pays off big, or whether or not this is going to be something of a waste of time.
Now this is going to be a really tough fight for Edge, potentially, seeing as this is a 300% seed. Carrie is fully capable of rolling high attack and being able to one-shot any of those 3 party members.
And he's got a white mage down, so he's going to have to be pretty careful about this.
I don't even know when that happened.
So that was 6 hits for 301 damage on the thief up top, and so she's packed a punch here.
Well, we got the fast landed. Sleep will hit almost certainly if he gets it off, which it looks like he will.
Oh man, and it missed.
Oh wow, yeah, Carrie is susceptible to status, so I'm actually really surprised Sleep didn't hit, but Carrie's dead.
Yep, it looks like she didn't roll with that much HP, which is a blessing for Edgeworth, because that was going south quickly.
It was not going well.
So our first fiend is down over on Edgeworth's side. We have our first orb lid. It is the fire orb, and so Edgeworth has finished one of the required 4 dungeons, and we will see where he heads next. He has a whole host of options opening up for him now, because he has found that floater.
If he goes if he does anything other than Trip, grab the rod, grab the free chest, and then go right to Ice Cave. He's out of his mind. He has to go to Ice Cave next. That is the correct play.
Yep, both the Ice Cave and Ordeals are incentivized, and so they know that there's something good hiding down in the bottom of both of those, and so that's a high percentage play.
Right. The only thing we haven't found yet is the slab. So if Edge finds the slab in, say, the Cardia Islands or the Titan's Tunnel, then it's going to be it's going to be a really quick seed for him if he goes right to ice after.
Meanwhile, Tristal has traded in his various items and picked up the key, crown to crystal to herb to mystic key, and now he's going to start checking crown chests real quick.
Right. Split Punch giving some statistics here saying that I believe he's referring to sleep having a 20% chance of landing. I was unaware that it was that low.
Split Punched our resident statistician, throwing us the chances to hit right and left. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Yeah,
Tristal's really hoping that he finds a progression item or something super good in one of these chests here, and he's not going to get crown trolled.
Well, he could also pick up, like I said, Mazamune, another ribbon. There's a few things he could get that aren't progression items that would be worthwhile. Say tail. But the Opal Armor could be good. Flame Shield's fantastic. But he really needs a game-changing item. Because the longer that Edge has the airship and Tristal doesn't, is the farther ahead that Edge is going to get.
And Edgeworth has picked up that airship, and he's going to go ahead and immediately make a beeline for the old man, the rod, and he's going to visit the Titan in his 4 chests.
Yep. And man after my own heart going right to Sarda's cave to pick up the rod for the Earth Cave. It's what I always do to ensure that I don't forget.
Yep, I do the exact same thing because after a couple of instances of doing that, you just always make this your first stop. There's no reason not to.
I've watched enough people forget to do that. I don't think I've ever done it myself, but I've seen it enough times. Same thing with the cube.
Edgeworth finding Vorpal, which will make our fellow tournament admin Czar very happy. The Vorpal has been discovered, and maybe we'll even see it used this from time to time. We've got a thief sitting there, so who knows?
The Vorpal sword. That is definitely a meme sword. We have a lot of debate as to the usefulness of the Vorpal sword, and I'm on the side of not really so much, and other people swear by it.
Tristal trading in that adamant and picking up an Excalibur, so he's hoping he finds that tail here at some point and be able to equip that. Bunch of chests over here that the dwarves are holding on to. There's a pro cape. That's a reasonable pickup.
For sure.
Dragon armor is super good. Now the tail's looking real great for Tristal.
Yep, he's definitely going to hope.
And the Aegis shield. Wow.
Dragon armor, Aegis shield, and Excalibur is pretty much a dream setup for a knight.
That knight is ready to go.
Definitely. And the byproduct items like the flame shield for the ninja upon class up makes him a little bit of a meat shield toward the end of the game.
Yeah, I see Czar's comment in chat about being a bottle hunt. I'm wondering if Edgeworth knows where the bottle is. That we have already seen the bottle. It's in Provoca.
Right. I'm sure he remembers. He's shop shopping. Level 1 nuke, game changed.
Well, I got to tell you, this seed looks better and better for Tristal. If he can find these progression items and get rolling, level 1 nuke is a beautiful, beautiful pickup for him with that black mage.
level 8 exit's kind of a pain in the butt. You want to have an exit or a warp somewhere before level 5 or 6 so that anybody can get it.
So if I'll see if I can quickly do a recap here, because we are 1 hour in to this round 1 semifinal race between Edgeworth and Tristal. We have 3 forced party members if you're just joining us. Those forced party members are the fighter, the thief, and the white mage. Edgeworth decided to go with the red mage as his 4th party member, and Tristal went with the black mage for his 4th party member. Pretty standard opening. The TNT was hiding in Marsh Cave, and then things kind of went a little crazy. The floater, instead of being in an incentivized chest, this seed was hiding in the volcano, and Edgeworth found that first. And that has given Edgeworth a little bit of a lead here as far as routing and progression goes. Not to be outdone, though, Tristal has visited both Ice Cave and Ordeals and has found the Adamant, which he has turned into the Excalibur, and critically, he found the Crown sitting in Ice Cave, that being a required progression item. So Tristal's has the Crown, but no floater, and Edgeworth has the floater, but no Crown, and that is kind of where we are at this point.
Right. And Slab's the only thing we haven't found yet. Now, in the midst of all of that, and you kind of going over everything, Edge did something I didn't know was possible, and because he saved on the tile where you go into the waterfall, he actually went north of the waterfall onto that river that feeds into the waterfall. I didn't know that was actually accessible. So that was kind of an interesting thing to see.
Edgeworth super happy that that red mage can learn that nuke spell. That's a huge boon for him. Mm-hmm. And that trap tile is done, and let's see what these 6 chests have in store for us. Don't forget to pick up the cube, everyone. I always forget to pick up the cube.
Yes, the gutsy bat is most definitely better than the Mesmune. Drumboards, you are correct.
Tristal has finished looking through the crown chests he wanted to look into, and he is heading into the volcano, so he is on the right track now. Edgeworth is going to peek into Onrak here. Still looking, still going into item shops. I gotta tell you, I wonder if he knows where that bottle is.
I think he does. I think he's just checking the shops here. I'd get a Viz 2 immediately.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'd even throw it on my red mage.
Saber really no help.
Not really. You can't get it anyway.
Edgeworth warps back out. Well, if he doesn't know where the bottle is, it's actually going to be to his benefit at this point, because it pushes him in the direction of heading out of here and going somewhere else. All right, chat, so if you've been watching from the very beginning, there's a dwindling number of places where that slab could be hiding. The slab is the last progression item that we haven't really found yet. Edgeworth's checking the Zardia Islands now.
And this is my guess for where it's going to be.
You think it's hiding here?
I think so.
But I'm asking chat to put it on the line again and say where you think the slab is hiding.
Drum bringing up a Little Ninja Brother with the Prism Claw. That's a game that you want to talk about RNG luck at the end of a game. You definitely need that to beat that game. Final boss in that. And if you don't, it's a long walk back to him. And if you've never played that game before, go ahead and suffer through that and see what I'm talking about.
So while we're doing a little bit more chest checking, you're chesting. There it is. Sure. There it is, everybody. So anybody who said Zardia Islands, you are correct.
Thank you.
And the slab has been found. That is the last progression item that we have been looking for. Edgeworth still needs to find himself a crown for go mode, but the slab has been discovered.
then he better get his butt over to the ice cave, because that is going to be the absolute best place he could go. I'm sure he's just going to buy the bottle real quick here.
He's still looking for it. The bottle's in Provoca, my friend.
I think he might have gotten mixed up where the pro ring, the gold bracelet bottle were.
So he's doing some gold bracelet shopping, which at this point of the game makes a lot of sense. That's an excellent idea. He does not have the wealth of equipment that Tristal has discovered by going to these other dungeons.
Right. And I don't think either of them has a tail, so it's a bit of a moot point. That stuff is just basically closet space in Tristal's inventory until he gets something.
So if you haven't done so yet, everybody, you should definitely give both of these runners a follow. Both Edgeworth and Tristal are just amazing runners to watch on a daily basis, let alone race like this. So if you haven't given them a follow, please do so. And while you're at it, there's Edgeworth picking up his bottle. While you're at it, if you haven't given Speed Gaming a follow, you absolutely need to do that. What the heck? You get on that right away. And thank you. Much love to Feasel for allowing us to host the Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament on Speed Gaming. And while you're at it, also follow Speed Gaming 2, 3, 4, and however many other numbers there are now.
Yeah. Freaking Speed Gaming 8, the Ocho, all ever one of them.
Meanwhile, we're also watching Edgeworth
make the right
kind of
decision.
wander into the ice cave, making the correct decision. And so go mode approaches here for Edgeworth if he can make it through the ice cave properly.
Right.
Hey, while you're also following people, follow our trackers. Sforzando, thank you, ADog80, for mentioning that. Sforzando, this is his debut on the tracker, and he's doing a bang up job. So thanks for that. And while you're following people, you also better follow Will Bloodworth, my co-commentator. And Final Fantasy Randomizer aficionado and tournamenter is still alive in this race, and has a couple Titanic matchups coming up here. First one, who do you face first, Will?
The man himself, Czar. As soon as I can get myself well enough to sit up straight, long enough to run against him, I will. I don't know when that's going to be. Certainly. As soon as I possibly can, but it might end up being after these two to determine who advances.
Got it.
Yeah. I wanted to get it done in the next few days, but I'm wondering if it's possible. Just for those who don't know, I won't get too personal here because this is about the runners and not me. I've got a little bit of a illness I'm dealing with that kind of puts me on my butt somewhere between half to 2/3 of the day. So I get in runs when I can, so scheduling is not really easy for me. I almost passed out during my second race against Edgeworth the other day, which probably affected my time a little bit. But
well, you know what? We're all pulling for your health, and you definitely make sure that you are in tip-top shape for when you go take Czar on.
Yeah, I definitely need to be. He's a hell of a runner. He's every bit as respectable as Edgeworth, even if he doesn't have the SRL points to back that up. He's the guy who's going to run the toughest seeds, pretty much more so than anybody else in this community. So he can play against anyone and hold his own, if not win. So I think what we're going to see here is how tough the Temple of Fiends is going to be, is going to determine whether or not one of these guys ends up wiping once or twice in the Temple of Fiends is going to determine who this comes down to. And if Edge is able to avoid wiping between here and the end, then I think he's pretty much got it in hand.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Just the routing has been more friendly to him at this point. Finding that floater early has meant that he did not have to try to dive into ordeals. His trip into the ice cave was super quick. In fact, so quick that he didn't pick up that ribbon that's hiding down there. But yes, for those of you that are in chat, we officially have a runner in go mode. And so Edgeworth has everything he needs to go ahead and attempt to finish this.
Correct. Yeah, he has everything he needs, but not everything he should have, and the ribbon is the biggest component here. He needs to have at least one. Slap that on the white mage so he can keep his life giver alive, and a second one preferably on the fighter so he can have his main damage dealer alive, regardless of goofiness in the Temple of Fiends.
Tristal on his side has found that floater and has found the elusive progression item that he was looking for. He's going to go ahead and take out that red dragon, and then carry awaits for him. And he's in a pretty precarious situation here with two party members down.
Yes.
And we already know that carry can hit really hard, so he's going to have to be super careful here.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of in a world of hurt. If he can't get that fast spell off soon enough on his fighter, and make sure that his fighter can withstand at least one attack, he's in a world of pain. He's going to have to do this over again. So I would imagine if he wipes here that his chances for winning this race are going to be much longer than they already are.
So Tristal moving his way back through the volcano. He's got his white mage back up and alive again. Edgeworth is meanwhile doing the crown shuffle here.
No doubt looking for a ribbon. I can't imagine what else he'd be looking for aside from maybe the tail, but the ribbon is the key item that he needs to grab. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up taking a trip to Ordeals just to see if the ribbon is the progression item hiding there.
Tristal re-picking up the floater. So we know that Edgeworth has already missed one floater one ribbon down in Ice Cave. So that's two more that are hiding out there somewhere. We know that the incentivized chests don't have them. So it's looking more and more likely that those ribbons are probably hiding in Sea Shrine, Sky Castle, or Mirage Tower, or perhaps Earth Cave as well. It's a whole lot of chests still out there. Yep, there's a whole lot of chests out there still.
Yep. Yeah, it's 50 alone between Mirage, Sky Castle, and then you've got somewhere approaching 40-ish in the Sea Cave.
Yep, and another 24 in the Earth Cave.
Correct. Yeah, you've got almost 100.5 chests that could potentially have any useful item at all. We haven't seen the Bonk glove yet that I can recall. And that's going to be a big deal in a seed like this at 300%.
Yep. Absolutely. The shirts have not been found either. I think maybe the black shirt might have been discovered, but the white shirt is the more important of the two with its cast of Invis too.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember which defensive spells these folks have picked up already. Like with respect to Fog 2 or Invis 2, I think we've seen both of them. I just don't remember what levels they were on. I think Invis 2 was a level
3, if I recall correctly.
I'm thinking of Wall. Wall's a level 3.
Actually, I think they both are. Yep, and I see Gothalash comment in chat saying that Tristal's fighter is like, this is not even my final form. Absolutely correct. Tristal's party finds a tail here. That fighter is going to turn into one beast of a knight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to do damage to it. with the best armor, best shield available, and best sword available that isn't named Masamune.
Edgeworth is making a trip over to Lifen and that last magic shops that we haven't seen yet. So we'll have to see what's hiding there.
Right. And unlike regular seeds, there's a chance that there's more than just one spell in each shop. So anything we haven't seen yet, I think Life 2, I don't remember seeing Life 2 unless everybody else does.
Nope, I don't believe Life 2's been found yet. I don't remember seeing it.
But odds are it's probably here.
Either that or our memories have failed us again, right?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Edgeworth, Edgeworth is taken off and is happy with the spells he has.
Life 2 was in a level 8 shop. Or Life 2 was level 8. That's a good reason not to pick it up, because you can't.
Yeah, and the life spell, I believe, was level 6, too, so that's going to be not a whole lot of re-raising here.
Very unfriendly for party member deaths. Life 2 is a full life revival, so you get all of your hit points back upon revival. Life 1 brings you back with a hit point. So Life 2, there's a joke that it's the best curative spell in the game. It literally, aside from Cure 4, it is. Because it can bring you back from death and heal all of your HP back. Yeah, the downside is it's not castable in combat. And Edge resets to a Tyro because he's Team Tyro. Because he has a soul. Good for him.
Edgeworth diving into Mirage Tower. He's going to go ahead and check out these chests on the first floor.
10 Speed 2 asking why doesn't Tristal bring his thief back? Well, he did. But the reason he probably wasn't doing it before was to make sure that the experience is flowing to those 3 party members who
There's
are
a
far
ribbon
more
sided.
useful.
There's a ribbon found for Edgeworth. So Edge has found one of the items he was really looking for. Also an ice shield. He'll pick that up right away.
I would say that he's in tentative go mode at this point.
Yeah, looking at his equipment, it's I'm still a little worried about his spell selection, and the power bonk hasn't been found. I would feel really comfortable if he was able to pick that up, but he's getting there. It really, like you've said before, it really all depends on what Temple of Fiends Revisited has in store for him as to whether or not his current composition can finish this.
Because the odds of Kraken, Tiamat, or Chaos, one of the 3 of them having really high evade, really high magic defense, and really high HP on a 300% seed, it's almost likelier than not. So you're going to have the ability to do a lot of damage. Hey, there's the tail.
Awesome.
And a third ribbon. Well, this is a good room. This is a good treasure hunt for Edge. This is paid off. Like I was saying, he's going to want to have the ability to sustain damage on it and not get wiped easily. And without a black belt leveled up to 42, the only way you can do that is by stacking this fighter and the fighter having survivability. And this it's soon to be night, I'm sure.
So Edgeworth making the correct call again and coming to the Sky Castle first and choosing to clear the Mirage Tower out, finds a whole host of items that we were really looking for. We're going to have to see now with Tristal, who's a little bit behind him at this point, can make the correct call as well. Especially the items that Edgeworth found, Tristal wants to find that much more.
Easily. Yeah, he's the only advantage that Tristal has right now. He's found the adamant. That is it. Like, every other advantage is Edge's at this point.
And it's and it's unlikely that Edgeworth will find that adamant. I can't see any reason that Edgeworth would want to go to Ordeals now, where the adamant was hiding, and so that's going to be an advantage that Tristal is going to probably hold through this entire seed. It's just a question of whether or not Edgeworth finds a Masamune, which would negate that advantage, or another sort of a high level sword that can output a damage that the Excalibur can. He's got the ice sword, which could do.
That's the minimum sword you want to take into 300% seed. He needs Sun, Excalibur, or Masamune, and nothing else. Ice sword is the next best thing, and he's going to have to stack like crazy to make that viable. And sure, yeah, I guess Vorpal isn't a bad play either. You know, if he's, I don't remember, was Vorpal in the Dwarf Cave?
Vorpal, I believe, was in with the Titan.
Okay, so he should still have that.
But as we're seeing, Edgeworth is still checking chests, so he's probably on the hunt for a power bracelet, or power gauntlet, sorry, which means he's going to be, as long as you're opening chests, you can find something like the Masamune or the Sun Sword, and then you're really in go mode.
I don't think he's going to go so far as to hunt, but he's going to take the easier chest. I don't know. Actually, it looks like he is 100%ing this area, because that chest is kind of out of the way.
Yeah, this is a tough chest to get to. He gets a heal potion for his trouble. And he warped right back out.
I'm a bit unclear as to his exact mentality right now.
So I would put the time advantage for Edgeworth at probably around, would you say about 5 minutes at this point?
I'd lean toward 10.
Okay.
Because Tristal got the floater so much later, and that makes a big difference. So he's got catching up to do. He still has to find the slab, and then go to the chime quest on the find. He still has to get the cube from Waterfall.
Oh yeah, he does.
It still has to go. I don't know if he's gotten the rod yet, because the tracker indicated that he did. But I mean, that's an easy pickup. He might be on his way to get it right where he's routing.
Doubting our new tracker. Look at this. See, our tracker is on it. He knows that Tristal hasn't gotten that rod yet.
It's not easy to keep up with two pieces at the same time.
No, it's not.
Tracking. So that wasn't a slight.
My first attempt at tracking was a 4-man race, and I about wanted to kill myself. It was just awful.
That should be a 2-tracker run.
Right. Magius, I see you in chat. Thanks for joining us tonight. The force classes for this semifinal run were the Fighter, the Thief, and the White Mage. And so Edgeworth decided to go with the Red Mage as his one choice, and Tristal went with the Black Mage as his one choice.
And Edge is doing the class change right now. So now bear in mind that Tristal has to make the same decision that Edge made to check those chests in Mirage Tower. And I think he will, considering he's got a pretty stripped down party. Like, he's got nothing until he class changes, so he probably has to find the tail. So the question is how far behind that is now. And I'd say 10 minutes is a fair assumption.
And Edge did make an interesting play here. He bounced out of the Sky Castle early before completing it to go ahead and save his game and complete this class change. What do you think of that, Will?
I like that play. I like that play a lot. And
just for a safety perspective?
Yeah, not only a safety perspective, but he can go get some spells on both of his characters on the Knight and the Ninja to make it a little bit more durable. He can equip the Vorpal sword for the fight with Tiamat in case Tiamat's really beefy. There's a lot of stuff he can now do that would have been a hell of a lot harder had he not class changed, going up through Sky Cave.
And at this 300% seed, even Tiamat 1 can cause a huge problem for an unprepared party.
Right. The problem is he's not going to be able to use the spells that he gets on the Ninja or the Knight until they hit... I think he's at 21 now, so he's going to have to wait until he hits 3 before they get a spell charge. So 23, 25, 27, and 29 will give them their respective 4 spell charges with level 2 Fade and level 1 Nuke.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
a big deal.
And so we see Edgeworth with his pajama party heading back up the Mirage Tower to go out and take on Tiamat 1.
Cerberus with Frost.
Tristal countering and going into Earth Cave first now. Interesting play here.
Baffling.
We'll see whether or not he's going to check any chests. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's just sprinting straight for the exit. The exit being Lich.
He's just trying... It's a routing thing because he's closest to this versus any other dungeon. I can't see it being any other reason than that. Oh, he looks like he's going up toward that chest, so he's probably going to pick up the easy ones on the way. So I'm guessing he's going to pick up the big 5-chest room on the 4th floor. And then the other one with, I think, 3 or 4 in the bottom left.
Ooh, defense sword found.
That's a hell of a pickup.
That'll be real nice for a ninja.
Can't equip it on anybody yet.
Tristal does know that the images live here, and the images do have, what was it, poison? No, it would... Boy, I tell you, Will, the mind is the first thing to go. I can't even remember what they had anymore, but it was awful.
It was awful, yeah. It was a...
Uh-oh, look out for the bat.
Oh, no. Oh, he makes it.
So anybody watching here, this is version 1.4.4 of the randomizer, which still has those bats in those troll positions. If you download a newer version of the randomizer, our lead dev, Entroper, has moved some of those bats to friendlier locations.
That's right. It's lovingly referred to now as the J. Coper bat because it made a point of preventing J. Coper from advancing.
Yeah, that was yes. He had 2 bats down. I was lucky enough to be on commentator duty that night. It was an incredible moment.
Yeah, I was watching that race myself. Man. He, for all the luck that I say Tristal has, I think J. Coper probably has the inverse of that.
Right.
J. Coper luck is not good luck. But despite that, he still got pretty deep into the tournament. It's a testament to how good of a how good at execution and decision making he was. And we see Edge picking up some chests here on the top floor. There's the Font Glove. What a fortuitous pickup.
Yep, huge pickup. Edge is in business.
Yes, he is. I don't think he needs to check a damn thing from here on out. I'm not sure why he's not putting the black shirt on. Oh, never mind. I had my party members mixed up. Tristal's the one with the black mage. Well, looks like Edge is going to finish this out and check the remainder. And yes, Zardia, that's correct. The Vorpal just got stronger. Flame Sword. All but useless at this point. No, I don't imagine he's looking for third ribbon at this point. We do see a Bane Sword, so should definitely take advantage of those strats against Tiamat.
If you haven't seen what we're talking about, the bats, I just threw the clip in chat for anybody to look at. Boy, you turn around and Lich is gone. What happened?
Oh, Lich Lich's paper almost always.
All right, anybody that wants to see Warmac, now's your chance. We need to see some Bless RNG. Oh wow, airs have crack. Oh boy. Yeah. So that's interesting. But anybody that wants to see a little Warmac in their lives, here's your chance.
Split Punch asked who said Bane Sword. Everyone Bane's. Edge has picked it up on the top floor, the top chest floor of the Sky Cave.
All right, we're an hour and 30 in, and Edgeworth is in solid go mode. With only one orb lit to Tristal's 2, but Edgeworth has found pretty much everything he wants to find, and is probably going to be in a dead sprint here for the end. We give him maybe a 5 to 10 minute lead over Tristal at this point. But Tristal is on the right track to go ahead and make this a close race down the stretch. So don't change that dial, so to speak. Tristal's going to go ahead and check this last magic shop that we didn't look at yet. And he finds nothing in the white magic side. Black magic, not a whole lot there.
The useless rub spell. I wonder if Edge is going to do any further grinding before Temple of Fiends.
Hey, you can grind on Warmac. You know, you're here.
That's a bad idea. One of your worst.
It really is. In a whole host of bad ideas I've had throughout my life, that probably takes it's probably in the top 5. Edgeworth on the Bridge of Destiny now.
Getting 2-for-1 deal on nachos. It looks like they're particularly old and stale because they are not crumbling very easily.
No, they aren't. Not terribly nutritious today. Loving the Bless RNGs. The chat wants to see a Warmac. Now it's up to Edgeworth to deliver for us. And look at that, a hero run all the way to the Tiamat orb. Here comes our first look at Tiamat, the Fiend of Wind. Let's see what sort of stats was spun up for the first version of the Fiend.
See if he's full of hot air, or if he's going to blow Edge away. Getting some stacks in early. I like this. Okay, so after a white shirt, 4 hits on the white mage.
This looks pretty manageable.
Yeah, provided we don't have a max evade Tiamat, which we certainly don't.
Looks like we're going to be all right here. Oh yeah, 8 hits for over 1,000 damage, and down goes the first incarnation of Tiamat. But there's another Tiamat that we're a little more worried about later on.
That's true.
That's the second orb for Edgeworth, and so we are tied in orbs. But Edgeworth has a little bit of an advantage still here on the places he has been.
He's got the biggest advantage of all right now in that he has class-changed characters. And that gave him access to any of the equipment that Tristal's sitting on right now, the Dragon Armor, the Aegis Shield,
yep,
etc., etc., etc.
And again, Tristal has found some amazing equipment that he just can't equip yet because he hasn't found the tail in the Mirage Tower. It's the second he does, his party is going to be loaded for bear.
This is part of the reason I'm such a aficionado of the black belt, is that equipment doesn't mean anything. You don't have to go hunting for armor, hunting for weapons. He is the weapon. He is the armor.
I will tell you, though, it's totally refreshing from a commentating perspective to not have a black belt in the seed. It's much more interesting.
It is a bit more interesting because we're not sitting and trying to find something to talk about while they're both pounding away on Agamas for 10 minutes straight. As a runner, it's even a little dull, but You know, it's like eating your Brussels sprouts before you get your. And yes, Edge does have the Vorpal equipped on his knight.
Looks like Tristal is opting to not go to Sea Shrine yet, and that is the correct call. We know that the items for which he seeks are in Mirage Tower and Sky Castle. So that was a decision that will probably pay dividends for him here.
Yeah, Sky is always, if both are accessible, Sea Shrine and the Mirage Tower Sky Cave combo, the Mirage set is always preferable statistically because there's more chests and a lot more of them are condensed to a smaller area.
Yep,
So,
Tristal is going to be super happy with what he finds here.
Yes, he made the right call. Edgeworth, the what he dubs himself the XP Pinata Big Eye, definitely not passing that fight up.
That's awesome. I haven't heard that. That's great.
That's exactly what it is. It's just a flimsy enemy that spits out XP, just like the eye.
So the red Sahags are here, and this is an unrunnable set of encounters that Edgeworth is not going to want to find because they have the poison spell. Well, sorry, Edge, I didn't do it on purpose. I promise.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, that lit 3 spell is a huge boon for him.
Yeah, getting that lit 3 to go before any of them get to do their jackass, pretty good. Yeah, but Tristal's dancing a jig once he gets that tail. We had some advocates for Brussels sprouts. You've got the vegan on commentary bad-mouthing. I've just never liked Brussels sprouts. I don't know what to tell you.
It doesn't mean you have to enjoy them just because you're vegan, right?
That's right.
It's not a requirement.
Yeah, not a fan of asparagus either. A lot of, quintessentially vegan foods are things I'm just not fond of. And I'll still eat Oreos.
So Tristal heading up now to the second level of Mirage Tower. Edgeworth's trip through the Sea Shrine so far is pretty quiet. We'll have to see whether or not this holds. It looks like he's done checking chests.
Looks like it. And Zardia pointing out broccoli overall. Yes, broccoli is fantastic. Love it.
Welcome to Food Hour with Wilworth, Enigma, and Maya.
Hey, everybody's got to eat, man.
Yep, exactly.
It's common interest as far as I'm concerned. And it looks like the ghosts are beefy with respect to their hit points. It's only going to be a problem for another floor or two. There's another ice sword.
Tristal finding that tail and the second ribbon. He's probably got all 3 ribbons now. So yeah, he is set with the dragon armor and the Aegis shield and 3 ribbons. All 4 of his party members are going to be super protected.
Yep. Well, 3 of the 4 of them at least. Yeah.
Dragon armor plus the Aegis shield gets you cold, fire, lightning, and poison that you're protected against.
That's correct. And then the pro ring would take care of the death element stuff. So you have 5 elementals out of the 8 taken care of. So there's only a little bit of a hole there.
Yeah, just time you still have to worry about, and poison.
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the third one is, but non-elemental stuff like slow 2 is a pain in the ass if you get if your fighter gets hit with slow 2 after he fasts up in a chaos fight. I mean, that's just getting wrecked. Earth elemental. Thank you. That's the 8th one. Poison is Aegis protected.
RD Platypus checking our work. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, so time, earth, and death, I believe. Well, no, death is the Pro Ring, so Time Earth, and you named off the third one, and I already forgot what it was. That's how often I take fighters and knights. I'm
So between the two of us, I think we have about 60 years of Final Fantasy experience between us. But the problem here is that our minds are starting to go.
Yup, that's for sure. Like I can barely think straight as is with the illness, but
don't get old, kids. Don't do it. Don't get old.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Kraken on Edgeworth's screen. This is the first incarnation of Kraken, which is Kraken has 15 arms.
15 for 75 damage. That was like a Green Medusa.
15 very small arms.
Yeah. It's like a millipede. 12 for 71. Well, I might have... The bigger factor here might be the Knight's got. I don't know that the Kraken's hit anybody other than the Knight yet, but I imagine it's going to be a lot beefier.
And again, this is just sort of the smaller Kraken. It's the other one, the next one that we're mostly worried about.
Yeah, all it's going to take is 7 or 8 hits from Kraken to wipe any party member.
So here's Tristal with his red Sahag pack. Let's see if he gets the same luck that Edgeworth did.
Nope.
Doesn't look like it. Poison comes out.
Wow, look at this. There we are.
And boy, this Kraken is still up. Oh, now it's not.
Was. Three out of 4. Now all he's going to do is trounce through Earth Cave real quick, slap Lich in the face, and then go to Temple of Fiends and find out just how hard it really is.
And Tristal's really kind of right behind him at this point. He's a half a dungeon behind here in Sea Shrine, and it looks like he's not going to be checking much here anymore. Right. The difference is that Tristal needs to go finish Sky Castle up.
Correct. It's a much longer slug than the Earth Cave. That's why when I said he was about 10 minutes, it's probably closer to about 8, but we're not far off. It's not 5. Like Edge is going to, if Edge has an easy time, he'll get to Chaos as Tristal's getting to like Phantom.
Okay.
But if he's got a really beefy Kraken or Tiamat fight, like high evade, survivable fight that he's stuck in for like 4 or 5 minutes, Tristal can catch up a little bit. But he's going to have the same problem Edge does, because their parties are not different enough to push one ahead of the other. Like, no one has a power level black belt to plow through these fiends. So,
and that's really going to be the trick here. We're coming up on 1 hour and 45 minutes now, and it feels like both of our runners are trucking right along. Yeah. But Temple of Fiends Revisited is a whole other game in and of itself.
That's when the game begins.
Yep, exactly. And then that's where all of the crazy strats come out to try to bring down some of these fiends that might have rolled up with max evade or max magic defense. We could be here for a bit yet.
That's correct. I am living proof of that. Edge is in my first match. Max evade chaos. We both wiped twice. He was one. I think he was like 1.5 Temple of Fiends ahead of me, and his third chaos fight, he managed a couple of 2-hit crits.
Nice.
In a row. Like he had like three 2-hit crits in a row to finally put chaos away after a long fight.
Meanwhile, over on Tristal's side, the Kraken got a hold of the Black Mage and turned him into blue goo.
4 hits for 20 damage from the fighter or the knight. This is not looking fun. So I think he's in a world of hurt. Unless the fighter gets some crits, he's not looking good.
And this is the difference of he has not found that power gauntlet that Edgeworth had.
Yeah, and not only that, his black mage is dead, so he can't cast fast. So he's just got a whole world of things going against him. And he's not. I don't think he's going to be able to fade that Kraken to death.
He only has two. Well, yes, two charges of fade left. Here's the first. Tristal might be running into a wall here.
Yeah. It's looking that way. His fighter is basically fighting the tank with it.
Meanwhile, Edgeworth sort of extending his lead here. The longer that Tristal sits here and sort of plinks away at Kraken 1, Edgeworth is taking advantage of this and is about to finish off his fourth and final dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Provided no serious shenanigans, Edge should finish somewhere in the 2 hour to 2 minute or 2 hour 5 minute range with these percentages. Provided he doesn't wipe.
Yeah, a reminder to everybody watching: this is number 1 versus number 2 in the semifinals. This is a 3-game set, and you're watching the first game of these 3. And so we're going to be going on for a while. And I'm watching Edgeworth fight shadows. What happened here?
Oh, he did what he joked for, where you finish a dungeon, take one step, and suddenly you're in a fight with, I think he said 7 shadows with it, 6.
Tristal finally taking down Kraken, so his third orb is lit. He's probably breathing a sigh of relief here because that battle was taking eons. Yeah,
a wipe there would have put him very far out of reach from Edge. And Split bringing up the valid point of this is why he talks about insta-kill strat. Yes, exactly. Brack, Bane, any of those at that point would have been a good move.
Yep, one of those 4 characters casting that, if it connects, you've just saved yourself a minute or 2 or 3 of just wailing away.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think it's like a 1 in 8. It's a hitting like Split. You can probably verify that. I think Bane and Break are probably both 1 in 8, give or take.
So Edgeworth has entered the Temple of Fiends Revisited, we'll say 1 hour, 46 minutes, and around 30 seconds or so. Let's see what time he comes out the other side here.
He's taking the fight with these Chimeras here. Chimera. I don't think it's a thing. And he's obviously doing pre-grinding. A little bit of pre-dive grinding.
Yep, and that's probably a wise decision. Level 25, 26 or so, at a 300% seed, that's probably a little bit on the low side.
Mm-hmm. Level 26. Oh, he's going deeper, so I don't know what he's doing here.
This is an unrunnable gas dragon encounter. I groan every time I see this encounter.
The crappy thing about the 1.4.4 at Randomizer is watch the experience. 288 because it cycled back around past 65535.
Yep, exactly. And so that was an experience overflow, which should be one of the best encounters you can take in this game. And it just it's a womp womp sort of situation.
Yep. You much rather get gas dragons than 4 because at least you get the XP there. And Phantom goes bye-bye.
It does look like Edgeworth is going to run this for as long as he can, and we will see whether or not this is a genuine run down to the bottom, or whether he wants to warp back out.
Yeah, because I don't know why he took that Chimera fight. Why?
Yeah, and he's going back again now, so I've got to think that this is maybe just a trial run.
I'm thinking he is just picking up some levels here. That's a good fight.
Yep, 9,000 experience each there. And yeah, he's running in the opposite direction of the way he would go to finish the game. So yes. Edgeworth is doing a little bit of grinding here. And so this opens up something of an opportunity for Tristal.
No, this is actually putting Edgy, because this is the best place in the game to grind if you're. And Tristal is plugging away, trying to complete the at this point the Sky Cave. So Edge is with every level he's getting, it's going to be that much easier for him to clear this temple. Whereas Tristal's going to come in not knowing what he's got waiting.
So here's your second opportunity, everybody. If you want to see a war mech, Tristal just may oblige us if you're interested.
Get your blessings out. No, Zardia, you're right. I don't think that long. I'm thinking of maybe a sustained grind of like 5 minutes. He'll probably get his guys up to 28, 29.
Tristal moving his way across the Bridge of Destiny here. Edgeworth running into a unrunnable frost jet.
Unrunnable doesn't matter to him anymore.
Right.
Fight either way. Frost Giants are worth enough to make it worthwhile. Thinking vanilla. Oh, what are they? I think they're like 1,800 experience each in vanilla. So
yeah, that sounds about right. Tristal's poor Black Mage taking another dirt nap here. So he will try to bring him back up. He's missed a lot of experience lying on the ground here in the last couple dungeons.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one party member you want to survive the Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, he's sitting at level 23 right now.
Yeah, he's a walking meat popsicle at this point. He can't survive a nuke charge from, say, Lich. And he's not going to want to waste life spells bringing him back up early and having to keep trucking him back up.
Yep, and there are 3 nuke charges hiding amongst these second incarnations of these fiends.
Right.
Speaking of nuke, he picks up level 1 nuke. Super happy to have that, I'm sure. All right, and so Tristal heading toward the temple visited himself. The difference between our two runs at this point, since be pretty close to each other in time, is going to be Edgeworth is a little higher level. Tristal has a different mix of equipment with something like the Excalibur that Edgeworth does not, and so we're going to have to see how this all plays out.
You know what he might have been doing was getting his spell charges up on his Knight Ninja. He might be maxing them out to 4 charges each, which I don't think is a bad play at all, considering you've got Nuke and Fade available to you.
And so let the second half of this this race begin, so to speak. It's up to the RNG and our fiends to figure out how much longer we're going to be here today. But Tristal is making a run for it now, and has taken ostensibly a lead in as far as the routing goes. He's a little bit ahead of Edgeworth, but there's a whole lot of game to be played yet down here.
Yep.
For example, the Phantom just wiped out the Thief for 380 damage.
Yep. I have the feeling Tristal's going to hit a wall. I don't mind the play of taking a look and seeing how hard it is, but Edge had enough foresight to say it's gonna be tough, so I'm gonna get some levels here, and and he can figure if I'm wrong and it's paper thin down there, that's worth losing. It's not a dumb gamble to grind out.
So Tristal's taking the risk here that this Temple of Fiends Revisited is going to be easy and not difficult, and there's a possibility that could be the case. The levels for this semifinal round of the randomizer, while they go high, they also go low as well.
But yeah, you'd have to have a pretty good lineup of 3 bosses.
Yep, absolutely.
Total crap stats for this to be payoff.
Yep, and those enemy stats can be anywhere between 33% and 300% for this semifinal seed. Worms with Thunder, that's gross.
Mm-hmm. So you got to figure if any of those three has a passably high evasion stat, like we're not even talking max evade, just high evasion, it's going to be very, very difficult for either party to get past it.
Worms also with poison, so the worms were rolled with some awful things. The thief is down on both sides. Boy, there's a picture to take. That's normal. Dead ninjas on both sides.
Yep.
Edgeworth stopping the run again, and is doing circles, and probably wants to do a little bit more grinding.
A safe bet. I think he's possibly getting more charge and getting some more levels on his knight so that he can get an extra hit from the sword. Because that extra hit can make a big difference. I have a feeling of what Edge is doing here. I can only speculate, but I think it's that. He wants to have more firepower. I don't think it's as much about survivability as having more ammo going into those fiend fights, because he doesn't have the black belt as a guaranteed damage dealer.
You know, I see that, but I also see Tristal diving down towards the bottom of the Temple of Fiends Revisited and picking up experience along the way,
Sure.
and really also picking up intelligence. I mean, he's going to take a look at Lich here, for example. Lich is really not all that scary, even in this with these stats. But if he can go down and find out if carry is going to be a real problem, that's knowledge that he knows sort of up front here.
For sure. To answer, Zelnop had a question that's dependent on weapon. I think you get hit number 5 with Mazamune at 24. I think Excalibur, it's 28 or 9. With the Sun Sword, it's higher. With the Ice Sword, it's up there too. I think it's like somewhere between 29 and 32. So it really depends, but getting the 5th hit is a big deal because it's an extra chance to crit. It's more damage that you otherwise wouldn't be doing. Plus, with a fast, you go from 8 hits up to 10, which again is a big deal. Cyclone, no. Edge did not die. He's been... And I think it's the smart play. Like if Tristal manages to plow through the rest of the Temple of Fiends, unimpeded, which I don't think he is, but if he does, then more power to him. But I don't think it's, from my non-professional opinion, I don't think it's the correct. I think Edge's play is the correct play.
And so
almost guaranteed tough road.
So we're going to find out here on Tristal's side, we're going to get a little bit more information about the fire floor in the first real fiend that can cause a real roadblock with Carry.
Yeah, Carry. The worst thing Carry can have is somewhat high evasion and a nasty hit. Not going to be anywhere near as tough as Kraken, but can still be a real pain. Yeah, I think Edge is making an earnest attempt now to.
Yep, we're going to see here now. Yep.
I think he's going to have a much easier.
So the audio is with Tristal, who is currently in the lead here at this point on his first attempt of Temple of Fiends Revisited. He is down on the fire floor and is about to approach Carry the Fire Fiend, Carry Revisited, that is. Edgeworth right behind him. Edgeworth's advantage at this point that we've been talking about is that Edgeworth has been leveling for a little bit here, and course and a level advantage over where Tristal is. So it's really all up to the Fiends here and how they were randomized for this seed to find out whether or not Tristal's going to be able to hold his lead and bring this one home.
Right.
And here comes Carrie, and this will be Tristal's first real test. So he puts the knight down at the bottom of the party. That's a real smart decision. Is his main damage dealer. With the Excalibur, he gets just 4 hits off there. He really needs to get that fast off. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this smart positioning. Thief.
Oh wow. Okay, so Carrie was made of tissue paper. Wow. And greetings to all of you that are joining us from other areas. We are down in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and Tristal is making a go for it here now on the water floor. And like Will's been saying, this is where things start to get real scary for our runners.
Sure. Yeah, if his party's at like level 20, going against a 300%. Kraken, Tiamat, Chaos. I think he's going to have a bad time. But if like I said, if things line up for him, and these are somewhat relatively paper-thin bosses, Tristal's going to make his way through this a lot quicker.
Yep. We are 2 hours into this race. We are both in the final dungeon. The person on the right-hand side, Tristal, is in the lead. On this water floor with possibly 300% final bosses awaiting them. Edgeworth right behind him. This is number 1 versus number 2 in the Speedruns live rankings. And this is the semifinals of our tournament. This is a 3-game set. This is the first game of those 3-game sets. And so there's going to be 2 more after this. So not this evening, I don't believe, but Kraken 2 is coming up here on Tristal, and so we're going to find out real fast whether this is a real run or whether this is going to come all crashing down for him.
Here we go. Here's the real test.
Invis 2.
Invis 2 off in time.
Yeah, beautiful. Head off first.
Absolutely the first thing you want to see happen. The next thing, get it fast, and his fighter jumped the gun.
So I saw something that was super scary there. That fighter swung and didn't get a thing off of Kraken, and so it's looking like the evasion is high.
And Kraken didn't get anything on it. Like he wasn't able to one-shot the thief. So Kraken is hitting like a weakling, just like his predecessor did. So
well, in the second you say that, there goes the Black Mage. That was 6 hits for 277 damage, which is not a lot, but it was enough to take down that Black Mage.
It's not a lot for Kraken 2 whatsoever. And,
oh my goodness!
Wow. Well.
Okay, so that's Fiends with low HP now.
Yeah.
Carrie had nothing, and Kraken didn't have a whole lot either. He's left now. Tiamat, as well as the final Chaos, and so Tristal's gamble is paying off here. This is his first and only attempt so far. Here in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Edgeworth. Well, Edgeworth has been here for a bit. Edgeworth has been grinding for a little bit, and not testing the lower levels of the Temple of Fiends here. We're going to see whether or not that pays off for him.
Yeah, and statistically speaking, the odds that both Tiamat and Chaos, in addition to the 2 previous Fiends, Carrie and Kraken, having low HP and serviceable kill ability, is very low. Odds are one of the 2 of them is going to give him, and he may get past them. I just, with limited resources, I don't see him having a very high probability of having that happen.
I gotta tell you, this triple worm encounter is actually much more frightening than either of Carrie or Kraken at this point, just because it sucks up so much resources.
Yep. He's not getting them killed fast enough.
And thanks to all of you that just joined us from the other speed gaming areas. This is the Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament, and this is the first round of our semifinals between the number one Speedruns Live ranked Edgeworth, who is chasing down Tristal, our number 2 seed, and they are both down at the bottom of the Temple of Fiends Revisited, trying to finish this seed out. Tristal is clinging to about a 1.5 floor lead at this point, but is running low on resources. And he's about to run right into Tiamat 2. Here he comes.
The important spells fade new. With respect to whatever evasion Tiamat and Chaos are going to end up having. And I imagine one of them is going to have higher evasion. It's going to be a lot harder to kill.
There goes Fast and Invis 2 for Tristal again, and so the RNG is on his side. That was, I believe, one hit. That was it
for 108, and it was a.
Okay, so that's
very,
interesting.
Very poorly for Tristal.
So Tiamat swings and only does a little bit of damage on the thief, so that's a positive to see for Tristal. Meanwhile, Edgeworth is right behind Tristal, one floor up on the water floor, and so this is really tightening up. Tristal making his decision about where he wants to go next. He's running low on resources. He's having the thief swing, and that's 3.
Wow.
That is 3 fiends now with low hit points.
Unreal.
And Tristal is starting to he's trying to draw an inside straight here, and it's working.
He is. He's got 5, 6, 8, 9, and he's trying to pull that 7. And he's getting it. I don't think Chaos is going to be a pushover. Like I said, the odds of there being 4 straight low HP bosses, not good. Statistically.
Quad worm encounter for his pleasure.
Yeah. What were we saying about Tristal's luck? Well, you're seeing it. Problem is he's got very few AoE spells left after running that gauntlet. Running into these worm fights, it's if he makes it past Chaos, it's going to be a tiny miracle.
So he's still working on this worm encounter. Meanwhile, Edgeworth is taking on Kraken. Kraken actually packs a bit of a punch here, but we do know that Kraken has low hit points and probably won't cause too much trouble here for Edgeworth. Edgeworth holds a significant resource advantage over Tristal at this point. So if Edgeworth can make it to this if Edgeworth can catch Tristal in a Chaos encounter, it's all going to come down to whether or not Tristal has enough juice to finish this.
Right. And I want to clarify something for Soundhound. No, I am not rooting against Tristal. I'm speaking from a statistical standpoint here. The resources he's got left to the levels he came in with, the fact that he was able to get this far without any extra grinding, and you see he's got 0 fades left. The chances he's able to make it through this Chaos fight, that Chaos is going to have as weak of an HP pool as the other Fiends do, is incredibly low. Like, I'm all for the better player winning. I don't care if it's Edge or Tristal, just to be perfectly clear. No bias on my end here.
No, and I completely agree with your analysis, Will. I mean, the way that this randomizer works is that all of these enemies are being randomly generated with anywhere between 33% all the way up to 300% of their original statistical totals. And those are all rolled independently. And so something can have very high evade while having very low HP, which is kind of been the case tonight. And so we've watched sort of a tale of two approaches here. Tristal is just going for it now. And he is on the last boss. He is on Chaos, and we're going to find out whether or not he has enough juice to finish this off.
Right. And the best thing the knight can do is stack the knight as much as possible with, fast tempers, defense, whatever he can.
And Chaos goes all the way to the bottom of the party and wipes the black mage out, which is not what Tristal wanted to see here.
He also didn't want to see 8 hits for 87 damage either.
Chaos showing quad X. That's not going to be too frightening. And so now this is going to come down to the fighter against the Chaos eventually here.
Sure.
He's using his defense sword to raise his own evasion. And here we are. We're down to it, everybody. If Tristal can pull this off, this is going to be a spectacular first victory for him.
Yeah, it is. Well, these 7 and 8 hit crits are landing for between 80 and 150. That was 134 there.
Yep,
So
and Chaos originally has 2,000 HP, and so do the math. Anywhere between 33 to 300% of that total is the magic number that Tristal's looking for right now.
which means I think it's 667 to 6,000 HP. You better get a kill soon because Chaos is about to wreck his day.
Okay, so Chaos has Nuke in his spell repertoire, which means that Tristal needs to be super careful here.
Well, he just needs to slug it out. There's nothing careful he can do. He has low HP. And
There's Rub.
It does not look like he does have low HP yet.
So we don't know where that magic total is. He's in the ballpark somewhere. He's well over 600.
Easily. Yeah, he's probably over 1,000 at this point. So maybe 1,200.
That Ruse spell is doing work. Chaos, when he gets hit, is not for a whole lot.
Nope.
So we're back to quad X, which means that Nuke is coming up again.
Oh, big 348 hit.
And we're down to 7 hit
7
points.
HP.
Look out, everybody. There was 8 hits for 74 damage.
Will it be clutch?
Oh!
There's your wipe.
Okay, and so there was a wipe for Tristal. Meanwhile, over on Edgeworth's side, Edgeworth is not out of the woods here.
No.
With losing that tier 4 to bring the white mage back, which would be huge.
And I was starting to be a believer there with this pull it off. With 7
Yeah, it looked like dreams could come true there. For Tristal, and he's going to go ahead and the killer is that he lost all of that experience that he gained all the way down.
Exactly. That's part of why I was saying that Edge's setup was better, was preferable, because with this happening to Tristal, Edge has a tremendous advantage over Tristal, despite not knowing what Chaos looks like or what Tiamat is about to look like.
Yep,
He's better prepared.
In Edgeworth, for those of you that joined us sort of in the middle of this Temple of Fiends Revisited run, Edgeworth got here first with about maybe a 5 to 10 minute lead, probably 10 minutes really. And instead of diving down to the bottom of this dungeon to make a go for it, Edge played this a little bit more conservatively and spent that 10 minutes up at the upper levels of the Temple of Fiends Revisited, grinding and gaining some levels. And so this is now Edgeworth's first attempt to finish the game. But he's doing it from a position of strength, or of more strength than Tristal had, who came in and tried to finish it on a first sort of go run.
And my curiosity here is what resources he actually still has left, if that's going to be enough to sink Chaos, because we don't know what his HP pool is. Like I said, it could be as high as 6,000. I think we saw roughly 2,500 or so come off of Chaos in Tristal's attempt. And that was a very, very valiant effort on his part, too. I don't want to sell that short. He did a lot more with less than I thought he was capable of. Underestimate Tristal at your own peril.
Yeah, that's exactly
damn good.
That's exactly right. The story of this race is that Tristal came in here in a 5 to 10 minute deficit and almost darn won the whole thing, just by being Tristal and throwing damn the torpedoes full speed ahead, and try to finish this off. He realizes that this is a semifinals run. And that winning the first round of this 3-game set is just enormous for both of these runners. Here goes Edgeworth now to go ahead and try to put a bow on this one and take game one.
RD Platypus just made a point that I was about. The Black Mage in Tristal's party continues to get killed during Fiend battles, and it's preventing him from buffing his Knight sufficiently to do damage.
That Black Mage is the secret. The Black Wizard is the secret of Tristal's party, and every time that it goes is for doing damage falls apart.
Right. And now we're about to see how Edge stacks up his party here. Now, he left his fighter or his Knight in the second slot. I might have put the White Mage. I would have swapped the Knight and the White Wizard's positions from a damage standpoint, because if you lose the White Wizard, it's not as big of a deal as if you lose your Knight, because your Knight's going to be doing all of your damage dealing.
Yep, exactly.
But he seems the durability of the Knight is going to do a lot of counteracting.
He's also being really deliberate about his choices here. He's taking his time, looking through his spell repertoire and really thinking about what it is he wants to do here. We've seen a couple casts of Invis 2 go off now. There goes the Power Gauntlet. He's doing this in this entire run. He's done this from a conservative perspective,
right.
Playing it safe, playing the odds, and we're going to see if it pays off here or not. Again, we saw probably Chaos with around 2,000 hit points. I don't know if Tristal got more than that or not.
Like 2,500 or so.
Yeah, 2,500.
I'm just ballparking. I wasn't counting. 10 for 930. I think we're going to be okay on Edge's side for damage dealing.
It's looking good here.
Yeah, as long as nothing wacky happens, I think he's probably got this in the bag. Not discounting Tristan, already back on the water floor, charging back down. So if something funky happens to Edgeworth,
and that's possible, right? There's a nuke charge out there. There's a zap spell out there. So we'll have to see where this goes. And those ribbons are not 100% effective. That's the other thing.
Nope. And that'll do it. 1460 will kill Chaos, and it will give Edgeworth 1-0 lead over Tristal in this winner's bracket final match.
That's a speed runs live time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 12 seconds. GG to Edgeworth taking game one here. And also congrats to Tristal. I know finishing in second is not going to feel great for him here, but he gave this a real go. And so both of our runners should be super proud of their performances here.
I was going to say, in most speed running, fortune favors the bold, and Tristal certainly was that.
You're absolutely right.
He came up just a little bit short in the end because, like Mike was pointed out before, his Black Wizard got wiped before he could buff the Knight sufficiently enough to get some damage.
And we are, yes, we are. We're joined in the chat room by Edgeworth. Edge, congratulations on your game one victory here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So you tell us a little bit about, before we tell you what happened, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you felt about this seed?
It felt kind of like a slog until I found Floater and then opened up early nuke and a lot of the other spells that I've been looking for a while. I think Warp was also in Gaia. So after that, if I'm doing fighter type strats, I'm going to go to Mirage as soon as possible because the experience there is really nice.
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna full clear a dungeon, the opportunity cost I feel is lower with Mirage because there's just so much good stuff there. I mean, that's one of the things that Artea kind of pounded into my head when I've asked him for advice.
Sure.
Like, take fights in Mirage; they're all really good.
Almost all of them are worth taking. I was almost accused of bias toward your run because I was agreeing with a lot of the strats you were implementing. The prepping by grinding in Temple of Fiends instead of doing what Tristal did, which was a balls out, all out run down to the bottom, which led to a chaos wipe that I think was maybe just a little bit short of killing him because of how relatively paper thin the other 4 fiends were. But I really think your safer strats, your prep was the better play in a 300% seed, and GG for that. So you kept the thief alive during your grind. Can you speak to that a little bit?
If I had to do it over again, I probably would have killed him off.
Yeah, it's the only point where I was like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" At all. Everything else was like, "I would have done this. I would have done." You know, I've been 15 minutes behind you, but I would have done this.
But it's just so. What I was really trying to do is find something that had like, what could I solo grind the fighter up to? And that never actually showed up because everything that I wanted to solo punch had infinite evade, red dragon and blue dragon, or had a ton of health like the Agamas. So I didn't really feel comfortable solo grinding anything. So, and I don't feel comfortable not having the thief to run away from things in dungeons, so he kind of stuck around a lot longer than he should have. To be perfectly honest, I probably should have just killed him off before going into sea.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Meanwhile, we're still watching Tristal work his way back down toward the bottom. He's got a fighter and a white wizard up at this point, so hopefully he's going to be able to get through this encounter safely.
Stuck in a Twilight cosplay fan club
right
here.
So, what level did he go into at?
I got to tell you, Edge, he, maybe
5.
25 at tops. You entered Temple of Fiends Revisited first, with probably, I would say, between a 7 to 9 minute lead. And you played it safe and you stuck around and leveled for a little bit. Tristal, the difference really here is that Tristal went to the 2 incentivized caves first, and went to Ordeals and found the Adamant, and went to Ice Cave and found the crown, and then went and checked some crown chests before he picked up the floater in Volcano. And so that was really the time difference. So at any rate, you ground in Temple of Fiend Revisited for a while. And when Tristal entered, he blew right by you and went straight for the bottom.
Yeah, I just, with 300% seeds, I've just had such poor luck. With I just didn't think I could justify going down there at a lower level. 32 was what I picked because you get the 5th hit off the Warple.
Yep.
I think if I found Mazmune, I probably would have stopped at 29, but that's just the way it worked out.
You get your 5th hit on Matt with Matt at is it 29? I thought it was 24. I thought it was much sooner.
Oh yeah, it is 24. What am I thinking of? Excalibur is
29.
29. Yeah. Okay.
And that's what I predicted you were doing was a combination of getting a 5th hit for your knight and getting some spell charges on your knight and your ninja for the Fade and the Nuke and all the other extras. So
yeah, I ended up not going back for those. I kind of felt like the grind took a little bit too long, and I couldn't justify doing that again.
Edge, did the shuffled magic shops throw you any curveballs this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's known that I'm not a huge fan of the shuffled magic shop, so yeah, like buying sleep and just to use on Garland to buy a turn, that kind of felt bad. Especially, the biggest issue that I have is when I buy spells like that, especially on a red mage, and then don't have room for something that I really want later.
Exactly. And that's my biggest fear too, is that you've got 3 slots for 8 spells with a red mage. And, sleep is crap everywhere but the very beginning, and even at the beginning, it's still basically crap unless it's the only thing you've got. So you don't want to waste what you're going to get, like, you know, Life 2 or Fade or Wall or something helpful by just grabbing one thing for one fight. I totally get that. It looks like Tristal's gonna continue to give it a go here. Making the sporting effort of it. Finish this out. So I don't know if Maya, if you had any other questions that you can recall from Edge's run while we were watching it.
You know, Edge, I've got a question that I wanna know if we were watching you look in item shops, and I speculated that maybe you had forgotten where the bottle was. Was that true or not?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely tradition. But when I basically I knew where it was at that point, and fortunately that's where the gold bracelets and the pro rings were, so it wasn't a huge time loss. But yeah, no. Once again, right? I wrote down everything except where the bottle was.
Yeah, that's just how it is, right?
Confused old man plays randomizers.
That's it.
So we're watching Tristal work on the secret worst encounter of this seed, the worms with poison and thunder and slow 2 and lightning 2, and you can't run from them. I think this encounter was, this encounter was worse than Lich and Carry and Kraken and probably Tiamat.
I said a number of times that, you know, the chances of having, you know, paper thin fiends all the way through from Carry to Chaos is extremely low, and that eventually Tristal's going to hit a wall. I don't know if it's going to be Kraken or Tiamat or Chaos, but one of the three of them is very likely to have higher evade or, you know, be a lot tougher to kill, higher pool of HP, just statistically speaking. And, you know, unfortunately for Tristal, is the last possible fiend is the final boss.
You know, and in chat, one of our buddies, DD Gaming, is pointing out that Tristal did 2,500 damage on his first attempt at Chaos. You know, which means he was somewhere in the realm of between 1 and 1,500 away from killing Chaos on his attempt. We'll have to go back and watch then to see. Chaos went straight for the Black Mage down at the fourth position, down at the bottom of his party. This could have been a very, very different story had that Black Mage stayed up and been able to get that fighter over the line there.
He needed to land a path and maybe a couple of tempers to assure hard hitting enough to get through that fight in the same way that you did, Edge. And you know that was I think the biggest game changer was the Black Wizard going down with.
Yep, I agree. ETAP asking in chat, Edgeworth, any comment about having to use the Thief and the White Mage running for their lives out of Marsh Cave to when the rest of your parties decided to become statues?
That's Marsh Cave tradition. Something awful always happens, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, great. I'm gonna run into the one thing I didn't know had Blaze down here on the way out. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Without fail.
But that was also one of the reasons why I was running out of tents going to Marsh Cave, and I took longer strides than I generally do. So that I could save 3 tents for the trip back, because a lot of times the trip back is just one person.
Yeah.
Tristal working on Carry Revisited, which we know was made out of paper mache, this seed, and down she goes. Really, Kraken 2 was weaker than Kraken 1, this seed. And so this has been kind of a topsy-turvy semifinals first round match.
Oh yeah, Spores and Zero power all you Scrabble tiles, said, was it your lack of adamant or Masamune that factored into your decision to keep searching chests even after you found 2 ribbons in Mirage?
Yeah. I was going to look for... If I have Vorpal, I don't feel very comfortable unless I also have Power Gauntlet.
Sure.
The biggest problem with Vorpal, it's like the crit rate is amazing, but the base damage is awful.
Right.
And the hit rate is awful. And those are 2 things that Power Glove does very good at boosting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just kind of secure the party for a long fight and buff them a couple of times, you should be in pretty good shape with the Vorpal.
You know, it's a good point. Our admin Czar, fan number 1 of the Vorpal, has this seed was created for you because of the Vorpal. That was the weapon that carried you here. Do you agree with that?
So I think I could have done it with Masmune, but I am starting to come around on whether Vorpal versus Excalibur. I think Excalibur is better against everything except Fiends, which is exactly like what you want a weapon for. So, I mean, even Defense Sword gets like, I think that gets the extra hit at 29 as well. So, and none of the Fiends are going to give you really a boost because of the elemental effect of the Excalibur. So you might as well just go with the extra crit rate, especially if you have access to Fast and Temper.
Or Power Glove.
Yeah.
Gotha Clash in chat asks, Edge, are you thinking about the second game yet? And I will, I'll piggyback off of that. Tell me, first off, what did you think about the 3 forced party characters, and why did you pick Red Mage as your 4th? And then rolling forward, any thoughts about the next game that's coming up?
The early matchup is what I was most concerned about. I felt like I could use the help of another person that could hold the sword in the early game. In fact, I'm thinking, like, even if I rolled, like, the ideal party, like, if it was open for this round, I might actually go with Fighter, just because with Spell Shop Shuffle, I might have to lean on physical attacks a lot longer than I would normally. As far as the next match, I do need some more practice with Spell Shuffle. It does make the beginning of the game feel different. I think Volcano Onward feels pretty similar, but you could also have all the good stuff hidden in Gaia too. So
sure. This is such a potentially perilous flag set because AoEs are few and far between more often than not. Like in Canaria, your chances of getting an AoE are like what, 1 in 3, I think, to get like a elemental 2 or 3 or like Fade or Nuke or something at a level you can